Utopian Playland by Dr. Phineas Waldorf-Steele. This is the short version. Introduction. Hello, my name is Dr. Phineas Waldorf-Steele, and I'm crazy. At least that's what they tell me. And it's a real load off my mind, too. I mean, you can get away with pretty much anything if you're bonkers. It really relieves a lot of pressure and responsibility for me. What I've noticed about being insane is the fact that most people really don't want to acknowledge insanity. You can walk down the street talking to yourself or little dancing bears that no one else sees, and people violently avoid eye contact. Keep walking, don't look at the crazy guy, act like you don't see him. You become invisible because people just don't want to deal with what they don't understand. Life is too busy to try and stop someone from having a conversation with a fire hydrant, and being crazy isn't illegal. You won't even be placed into an insane asylum unless you try to hurt yourself or others. And, mental note, that also includes trying to burn down your ex-employer's toy company. There are a lot of things I like about being crazy, but one of my favorite things has to be the fact that I don't have to be anything that the world expects me. If I feel like crawling around on the floor and barking during a business meeting, then so be it. I'm nuts. If I feel like spouting off conspiracy theories involving the alien Illuminati, or that I will one day become world emperor, then it's just to be expected. After all, I'm a complete wacko, and it's rather convenient. Utopian Playland, Part 1. With all that's happening in the world today, I would like to take this opportunity to speak about a very important issue. Toys. What image pops into your head when you hear the word toy? A plastic strawberry shortcake doll? Or a robot that transforms into a vehicle? Perhaps peculiar devices in the bedroom? Well, in any case, all of those answers are in fact correct, for in the new Dr. Steele World Dictionary the definition shall read as follows. Toy. Noun. An object that makes you happy. By this new definition, we learn that a toy can be anything from a root beer-flavored gumball to a new Mercedes. Clothes, vacations, movies, music, pet monkeys, they all fall into the toy category. Not only are toys fun, but in this day and age, they seem to become increasingly necessary. As children, all we wanted to do was play, and then school got in the way. The first 13 years of school is the have-to. We might rather be thinking about dinosaurs or unicorns, but we're told that we must concentrate on math and English. It's a daily exercise of memorization and regurgitation of seemingly inapplicable information. The only part of school that many of us actually look forward to was recess, which conveniently gets removed once we begin middle school. High school is quite possibly the worst designed and most inappropriate activity in the history of the world, as it places you in exactly the wrong environment at exactly the wrong time in your life. Then it's off to college, where very few of us even know what the hell we want to do. We take standard classes to earn a standard diploma so that we might fall into a standard career that we're not particularly interested in pursuing in the first place. We're doing this because we feel that we have to. Society simply assumes that this is what we must do, though we would much rather be having some fun, because after all, that's all that there really is. See, there's something that I have to tell you, and it's not going to be pleasant. I'm not exactly sure how to break it to you, so I'm just going to come right out and say it. The meaning of life is, well, grim. To us humans who have brains that must justify everything, it's grim. There's no big, important meaning, no higher purpose. All of this business about progress and advancement of the human race, it's all just pounding nails into our own coffins. If you wish to talk of purpose, the only real purpose humanity has is to reproduce. And, newsflash, we don't need to make any more humans. Over 6 billion people is more than enough. But our brains can't stand not having the answer. There must be a reason. So we form religions and clubs, we join the military and gangs, and we have Tupperware parties. We plug ourselves into these little pre-packaged microcosms with nice, tidy little rule books to tell us what to do. obtaining validation from our existence simply because there's a bunch of other people agreeing and doing the same thing as we are, meanwhile taking out our insecure frustrations on another group whom we don't agree with, and vice versa. This satisfies our brains to some extent, but it's not the answer. Many of us begin to lose faith, drop out, change sides, or trade in our Tupperware. Something doesn't fit. And it doesn't fit because there's nothing to fit into. As a species, we're totally disposable. Have you ever considered the fact that the human race is the only species on the planet that could simply disappear off the face of the Earth and it wouldn't affect the ecosystem? Actually, that's not entirely true. Our extinction would actually benefit the ecosystem. We're also the only life form that's completely incapable of surviving in the world on its own. As H.L. Mencken pointed out, alone of all the animals, terrestrial, celestial, and marine, man is unfit by nature to go abroad in the world he inhabits. He must clothe himself, protect himself, swathe himself, armor himself. He is eternally in the position of a turtle, born without a shell, a dog without hair, a fish without fins. Lacking his heavy and cumbersome trappings, he is defenseless even against flies. As God made him, he hasn't even a tail to switch them off. Wise words. So, how can this possibly be? How can we be the only extraneous life form on the planet? Why? Because we're not supposed to be here. We are the result of genetic manipulations from an outside force. Skip all that business about evolution. Humanity was cooked up in an alien easy-bake oven a long time ago, and that's why we don't work correctly. There's nothing natural about us. We're mutant lab rats, unaware of the experiment that we're in. We press the button, eat the cheese, and continually run the maze, not realizing there's a whole other world to be experienced. A rat doesn't want to run a maze, it wants to do rat stuff. Groups of animal lovers continually fight to end this sort of experimentation on animals, but as Ted Kaczynski wrote, no one stops to ask whether it's humane to force adolescents to spend the bulk of their time studying subjects most of them hate. The alien Illuminati doesn't care about human rights. As far as they're concerned, we don't have any. They made us. They're just waiting for the next ice age to hit. They'll eject in their escape pods along with 24 supermodels and go live on the moon until things blow over. This has been going on for a very long time. Yet we don't catch on because we're brainwashed, blinded, and running on empty. Their reality engineers guide our perspective of the world. Through corporate media, mass-produced genetically engineered food keep us operating on empty, and experimental drugs being introduced into the society through various means keeps our brain patterns at a minimum. It's no wonder that we're a tired, unhappy, unhealthy lot whose daily highlight amounts to playing video games and watching television. But now it is time to wake up. If we as a species could only accept the fact that we are completely disposable, we could begin spending our time doing what we really want to be doing, which is having a good time. Quantum physics delves into the idea that our reality is whatever we perceive it to be, meaning that it's only because we are observing this constructed reality that it continues to exist. So, enter the alien Illuminati-controlled mass media, which tells us exactly what to think. They create our reality by suggestion and reinforce it by opinion. Their goal is to keep us afraid and occupied with a million things so that we don't figure out what's going on, because if we did, we would not stand for it. They know this, and thus provide the quote-unquote solution. Our bribe is receiving a constant shotgun blast of mass media advertising from every street corner, billboard, bus stop, radio, and website. Our bored minds are primed to soak up a generous helping of this pseudo-entertainment casserole, stale and rotting with the same recycled ingredients. We swallow it with not much of a choice. But we do have a defense. It's this thing that we only use 5% of. It's called our brains. By default, human beings have a collective consciousness. Most of us don't know that we use it, but we do. We are all connected on some level. This is fact, not just some hippie fantasyland talk. Experiments have proven time and time again that we are indeed linked to one another through some sort of psychic netting. The problem is that we're not encouraged to exercise this ability, and furthermore, the alien Illuminati has placed a frequency network over the entire planet to keep our dimensional blinders on. We are multidimensional beings living in a confined 3 dimensions. If we were to experience all that we have the ability to experience, then they would cease to be in control. It's the Frankenstein monster theory. They created us, and now they're afraid that we may destroy them. So how do we deal with this information? Well, most of us will completely ignore it. What I suggest is that we begin constructing our own reality. If our reality is what we're convinced it is, then let's make it a whole lot more fun and leave this filthy world behind. Let us band together with one singular vision of creating a world based on the simple ideology of making fun the top priority. Join me in my quest to build a better world. It is only as a collective with a singular focused vision that we will be able to reject the ugliness of this reality and transform the world into a utopian playland. Merchandise available on my website. Thank you.